Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. Let's talk money and board games. Part. If you missed part one, I'll link it above. But let's talk about money and board games a little bit in a different light. You heard me talk about, where the money is, what people tend to go towards, what people tend to avoid. And again, as a slight recap, if you did not watch part one or have no interest in watching part one, the reason I'm talking about that is, you do see a lot of similar faces. Not every project by any means, but it's always a strange dichotomy about how people online talk about how they don't like to see the paid previews, putting the P in front of the review because somehow that makes it okay. And then, also with the dichotomy between a lot of those paid previews get very, very small view counts comparatively to the actual subscriber counts that these channels have. And so it always makes me wonder why. Why are they going to those people? Because if you're looking at metrics, if you're looking at reach, and there are people out there with larger reach, and I'm not talking about just people like me of my whiteness and maleness, but I mean just people across the board that do extremely quality work of all genders, races, and everything else. And so if you're going to them or they are being sought after, the question has to be raised, why is that? Now, as a side tangent on this video, two things. One, what do you want to see out of me in the future? I am thinking of ramping up my Patreon side of things for exclusivity, for a reason to support me in another way. Because, to be honest, this money is tempting. I literally just got one of my first offers tonight before recording this for someone saying, hey, do you do paid previews? Or do you do more of the traditional review? And I took that as a compliment because it was asking an honest question. And I responded, hey, I don't really do paid previews right now. Maybe paid playthroughs in the future. I would seriously think about doing paid playthroughs in the future because I think that is a more of a way of showing you guys the games. Because, when people ask me, what do you think? How do you decide? What do you find out in terms of, whether or not you're interested in things? I say, you know what? I read the rule book. I read weaknesses. And then I look for actual gameplay to show me what it's like. And so if I could do that gameplay, benefiting myself, but also benefiting you guys as somewhat of a mixed medium, I think that would be very helpful. But you can let me know in the comment section. The other side tangent that I think is more along the sides of the money is I have seen several larger social media things, especially on Facebook, where Facebook, they sell the banner. Did you guys know that? Banners are bought and sold on Facebook on a regular basis, and giveaways to go along the same thing to drive hype, to drive exposure. And I didn't realize that before. I thought it was sort of a symbiotic relationship. No, it's a buying, these Facebook groups are monopolizing and getting money, and not minor amounts, because of the sheer presence, even though I'm not sure how much reach it actually has, because Kickstarter posts also seem to get less response. But I guess, again, it's out there. It must market itself heavily. And you see it across several of the major board game Facebook groups that are out there. And again, that's something I don't see mentioned often. Sort of like Instagram. I feel like Instagram has a lot of that as well. I could be wrong. But that, along with like affiliate links being spammed as discussion points. Hey, what do you think of this? Insert affiliate link. Is this a good game? Insert in affiliate link. And I'm not going to do that either. I would think about something seriously like a sponsorship. If publishers, secondary, non-game involved companies, like supplies, like the tables, like the game toppers, things like that it's not a direct influence from somebody who's giving you a game, but it's someone who's still sponsoring you in that way so you can have some more of that independence. Also, right now ongoing is the Brothers Murph Kickstarter, and we see Kickstarters on a somewhat not monthly basis now, but a lot of the larger, more-ish independent ones, kind of, but they still do often paid previews as well. And so that's another option as well in the future. I'm not nearly big enough, and I'd be laughed off crowdfunding if I tried something like that right now. But that is, the other aspect of things that is very influential. And it's also very intriguing because you see a lot of these large crowdfunding ones sponsored by publishers. And so isn't that also sort of the same relationship? People aren't okay with being paid by the publisher, but if the publisher gives you promos to sell, essentially, that's okay. And that's a weird relationship again. Because we're not talking about minor ones. We're talking about major players across the board on all of these Kickstarters almost. Because that's really the only thing that gets people's attention on the Kickstarter is the ability to get something promo-wise. Yes, you're supporting the channel and you're doing it to support the channel and you pay a premium to get it. But there is also a FOMO exclusivity. But you have to wonder too, is there something like that? And I honestly don't know. I don't think so. Not as much as the concern would belay in other situations. But again, it's just a nuanced, different viewpoint of this that I don't see people talking about. It's always just direct money from a publisher for a preview, which also always happens to be very positive. So anyway, that is part 2 of the money situation. Let me know what you think. Maybe I should just sell my banner space at the top. Get rid of Liege Games up top of my YouTube channel and just start renting it out by the week. That would be a poor proposition. I don't know if I would even consider that. That's completely horrible idea. But let me know what you think about the Patreon side of things, the exclusivity, if that would be, because I see a lot of other people who have successful Patreons really going heavily in that route. No Pun Included, Board Game Co., Quackalope, they all put out a ton of, even Rahdo, a ton of Kickstarter exclusive stuff on top of the money they get from elsewhere. So that's something I'm pondering. Anyway, that's money, that's board games, that's controversial. Stay classy, have a great day. See you around.